Transformers and generators. In this session, we are going to study single phase transformers. A transformer is a device that transfers electrical energy from one electrical circuit to another electrical circuit by electromagnetic induction. It is a static device since it does not have any rotating parts. It is a static device which transfers electrical energy from one circuit to another circuit by maintaining the frequency. There are different types of classifications of transformers. Classification based on application, classification based on construction, classification based on number of phases, and so on. First of all, we will see here classification based on application. It has been classified into step-up transformer and step-down transformer. As we know, transformer is an electrical device which uses to transfer electrical energy from one circuit to another circuit. Step transformer means there is depending upon application, it is going to step up the voltage. Since transformer is an electrical device which contains primary winding and secondary winding, step up transformer means it is used to step the voltage which is suitable for transmission. Let's say the input voltage is 11 kilovolt to the transformer. It has to be step up which is suitable for transmission over a transmission line 132 kilovolt. Then 11 kV bar 132 kV, it is called as a step up transformer. Suppose at the distribution center it has to be stepped down to a respective voltage, for example from 132 kV to 11 kV or even lesser than that 415 volts. Then we use step down transformer depending upon the voltage levels, whether you want to increase the voltage or whether you want to decrease voltage. That is called as application. It has been classified into step up and step down transformer. In a step up transformer, the number of turns on the primary is smaller than the number of turns on the secondary. In a step down transformer, the number of turns on primary is greater than the number of turns on the secondary. This is the first classification. Second classification depending upon the construction, core type and shell type transformer. We will see one by one. Depending classification on number of phases, single phase transformer and three phase transformer. Single phase transformer, it uses input is single phase, that is phase and neutral, and output also single phase, that is phase and neutral. And three phase transformer means it may be a three phase three wire system, three phase four wire system. Three phase three wire system means input is three phase RYB and output is three phase RYB. Three phase four wire system is input is three phase and output is four phase. If the transformer is connected in star, we are going to get one more point. That's a common point or a junction. It's nothing but a neutral. The advantage of three phase transformer, that is for three phase four wire system, means it is possible to get three single phases from a three phase transformer. Next, classification based on the location of transformer. It has classified into indoor type of transformer, outdoor type of transformer, and station transformer. This is about the classification of transformers. Next, we will see the construction. In the diagram, you are seeing the construction of a core type of transformer. Transformer core is made of high-grade silicon steel and laminated construction. You are seeing the laminated construction means you are seeing the small thinner lines throughout its cross section. That is nothing but a laminated construction. Means it is not a solid piece of material, high-grade silicon steel. A thin plate, the square plates are stamped together to become a transformer core. Here we use high-grade silicon steel as a construction material and laminated construction. These type of material and the type of construction which is used to reduce hysteresis and eddy current loss that exist in a transformer, whether it is a single phase transformer or whether it is a three phase transformer. Here, this is the transformer. What you're seeing is the core type of transformer. A transformer mainly has two windings. wound on the two limbs of the transformer, namely the primary winding and the secondary winding. Primary winding connected with the supply, secondary winding connected with the load. As you have seen in the diagram, this part, what you're seeing in this left, this is called a left limb, this is called as a right limb, and the top and bottom surface is called as a yoke of a transformer. The left and right is called as a limb, and top and bottom is called as a yoke. The working principle goes in this way. Here the primary is a V1 is a supply voltage that we are going to get from the generating station, and this secondary side is nothing but the load. This is called the primary winding, which contains N1 number of turns. This is secondary winding, which contains N2 number of turns, which is connected to the load. Now the transformer works on the principle of mutual induction or electromagnetic induction. Now the working principle, you will see the input voltage V1 is applied to the primary winding. As a result, the primary winding circuit is get closed here. As a result, the current I1 starts flowing in the primary winding, which sets up a flux pi here. You see the dotted lines here, which sets up the flux in the core. It is both the primary and secondary winding, they are not electrically connected, means physically they are not connected by means of a wire, but they are mutually connected by means of a transformer core. Hence, when primary side winding is energized by a voltage of V1 volts, current I1 will flow in the primary winding, which sets a flux pi. Since they are magnetically coupled, that flux links in a secondary winding, that is which contains N2 number of turns here. Hence, as a result, you know that when the flux is set up in the core, as a result, the EMF will be get induced in the primary winding. That is called the E1. When you apply V1 volt, as a result, EMF will be induced in the primary winding as per Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Whenever a magnetic flux linking the coil or a conductor changes, an EMF will be get induced in the coil or a conductor. This is Faraday's first law of electromagnetic induction. Clear. As a result, when this flux links, this is a mutual flux. When this flux links the N2 number of turns on the secondary winding, as a result, the EMF will be get induced in the secondary winding. That is nothing but E2. And the voltage available to the load, this is nothing but load. It may be a dynamic load or it may be a static load. Okay, static load, light loads are called as static load. Dynamic load or rotating machines are considered as dynamic load here. As a result, here EMF E2 will be induced in the secondary winding, and the V2 is the voltage available to the load. What is the difference between E2 and V2? When you say the transformer is ideal, we are not considering any losses. That is called the ideal condition, but practically it is not possible. There are certain loss. The loss will be due to IR drop and IX drop. That is not resistor and reactive drops in the primary and secondary winding. Here we have the losses here. Hence, never E2 is equal to V2. Only ideally E2 will become V2 here, because V2 is equal to E2 minus I2 R2 minus I2 into X2. There is a resistor and reactive drops. Hence, we are going to get a reduced voltage to the consumers, that is to the load here. That is about the construction. In the core type, you are seeing the windings are the considerable part of the core. In the shell type transformer, the shell covers a considerable part of the winding. Here we have one magnetic path you are seeing in the flux here. Flux pi you are going to see. Okay. Actually, there are three different flux you're going to set up in the transformer core. When the current I1 flows, the flux pi is set up here. As a result, here when EMF will be induced in the secondary, that is E2, and V2 is a load. When the secondary is connected to the load, the secondary circuit is closed. As a result, the current I2 flows in the secondary winding. As we know, whenever the current flows in the winding, it sets up in one flux. Due to current I1, pi is set up. Now, due to current I2, one more flux is set up called the pi 2 with a lesser magnitude as compared to the main flux pi. You take a small magnitude for I2. Hence, what happens? And the flux set up due to the current I2, that is the load on the secondary winding, it sets up in one flux phi 2, which is having small which is in opposition to the main flux, that is pi. Hence, the total at this instant, the total flux is pi minus pi 2. Hence, what happens? As the total flux setup, which is responsible for producing EMF, that amount of voltage induced reduces at this instance, pi minus pi 2. Hence, what happens? You want to maintain this constant. Let me see. Now, this pi 2, as you know this one, from secondary to the primary. As you know, the flux pi transfers from pi n1 to n2, primary to second. Now due to this secondary flux, that is pi 2, which crosses the primary winding, that is n1 number of turns. As a result, you know that now there is a current which will flow in the primary winding, that is the current due to the secondary, that is I2 dash. Now the current I2 dash will flow in the primary winding of the transformer, that is because of the flux pi 2 which flows in n1 number of turns, which induces the current, which induces the current I2 dash to flow in the primary winding. And as a result of I2 dash, I1 and I2 dash, it will flow in the same direction. Hence I2 dash, magnitude of I2 dash, and produces the flux pi 2 dash, and the flux pi 2 produced due to I2, they are having the same magnitude but opposite in direction. Pi 2 dash, pi 2 is equal to minus pi 2 dash. Due to current I2 dash which flows in the primary, it sets up in one flux, that is called the pi 2 dash. Now at this instance, the total flux is pi minus pi 2 plus pi 2 dash. Since pi 2 and pi 2 dash same magnitude but it opposite, that will get cancel each other. Pi minus pi 2 plus pi 2 dash. Hence what only it remains with the flux pi. Hence, even though when you connect transformer to the load or not, the flux will be induced, current will flow, flux will be induced, it crosses the primary winding, again it sets up its own current, sets up flux, but it cancels each other. Hence what happens, the total EMF induced at any instance, it remains constant. This is the principle of operation of a single phase or even a three phase transformer, and this what you see in the diagram is nothing but construction of core type of transformer. As you are seeing here, a transformer mainly has two winding wound on the two limbs of the transformer, namely on the left limb primary winding, on the right limb secondary winding. Primary winding connected with the supply, that is usually the generating station. Secondary winding connected with the load, it may be receiving station or maybe the distribution side. Core type transformer has single path for the magnetic flux, that is pi, to flow in the transformer. The core can be in the form of a rectangle or a square. Shell type transformer has two windows or three limbs here. Okay, here we have left limb, central limb, and right limb. Both the primary and secondary windings are placed on the central limb. In the core type transformer, primary and secondary winding also is wound on the separate limbs, left limb and right limb. Here we have, even though we have three limbs, both primary and secondary windings is wound on the same limb, that is on the central limb, that we are going to see in the diagram. Here we have the difference between the two types of construction of a transformer, core type and shell type. In the shell type, you observe here, here we have double magnetic path. Here we have one magnetic path here on this one and another magnetic path here. And see, here we have left limb, central and right limb, top and bottom yoke here. See, both this is primary winding and secondary winding, both are connected to the same limb, that is central limbs here. Okay, here shell types a considerable part of the core. Here core serves a considerable part of the winding here. Okay, the winding serves a considerable part of the core and all. Here you see the double magnetic path. This is a difference between core and shell type here. And here the primary and second winding of same limb here is different, primary separate and secondary separate here. Here single magnetic path, here we have a double magnetic path or multiple magnetic path we have. This is nothing but the difference between core and shell type of transformer. And these are the certain parts of a transformer: bushings, tappings, windings, conservator, tank, and breather. The primary principle of operation, as we just seen, the primary of the transformer having N1 turns is fed from an AC supply of V1 volts. The current I1 will flow through the primary coil or the winding. The current through primary winding will set up a flux pi in the core. This flux, when linked with the primary winding, will produce an induced EMF E1 in the primary winding. The flux pi will pass through the core and link with the secondary winding. This was a mutual flux to induce an EMF induced E2 in the secondary winding. Because of this induced EMF, a current I will flow through the load when it is connected to the load on the secondary winding. The load terminal voltage is V2. That V2 is always less than E2, since we have I2, R2 and I2 X2, where R2 and X2 are the resistance and reactance of secondary winding. If the input voltage V1 is greater than output voltage V2, then it is called as step down transformer, as we know. If the input voltage V1 is less than the output voltage, then it is called as a step up transformer. Step up transformer, especially in the generating station, step down will be in the receiving station. On the distribution side, we use this type of transformer. Generally EMF equation of transformer on primary and secondary winding will be given by general expression is E is equal to 4.44 F pi into N, where F is the frequency of supply, pi is the flux induced, and N is the number of turns. N1 into number of turns on primary and secondary. The transformation ratio of a transformer is given by E1 by E2 by E1 is equal to N2 by N1 is equal to V2 by V1 is equal to I1 by I2 is equal to K. E2 and E1 are EMF mixed in secondary and primary winding of a transformer. N2 and N1 are the number of turns on secondary and primary of the transformer. V2 and V1 are the output voltage and the input voltage of the transformer. I1 and I2 are the primary and secondary currents. Now we are going to see the vector diagram for practical transformer on no load. Practical transformer on no load. Before that, we see the equivalent circuit of a transformer. This is on the single phase basis, equivalent circuit of a transformer, that is exact equivalent circuit. It will be represented, you see in here. This is nothing but the transformer winding, primary winding separated by these two line implies the core, and this is the secondary winding. V1 is input voltage and E1 is the EMF induced. E2 is the EMF which is the secondary, and V2 is the available voltage to the load after the drop I2 into R2 and I2 into X2 or JX2, and the primary side, and where R2 and X2 are the primary and secondary side resistance and reactance, and R1 and X1 are the primary side resistance and reactance. R0 and X0 are the shunt branch resistance and reactance, where the current will flow, that is a small amount of current will flow. I0 is nothing but the vector sum of IC and IM. IC and IM. IM is a magnetizing component of current and it's a working component of current. IC is responsible for producing here core loss. IMU is a current which flows through the reactance X0, which is responsible for producing the flux pi. Here I0 is a very small amount current. Also the IM is a very small amount current. It's sufficient to produce a flux pi, which is in the core, which induces a EMF E1 and E2 in the primary and secondary windings here, where R1 and X1 are primary side resistance reactance. I1 is the input current. I2 dash is the current which was due to the flux pi 2 when it flows through the number of turns on N1, it produces I2 dash, which is responsible for producing pi 2 dash. This is the exact equivalent circuit of a transformer. Next, you can write this equivalent circuit transformer. Refer to primary and refer to secondary. Refer to primary means all the secondary resistance, reactance, load, everything, or even E2, I2, R2, X2, V2 load, everything we bring to the primary side. Referring to secondary side means secondary side remains the same. Primary side component you are referring to the secondary here. That we are going to see the next exact equivalent circuit. Refer to primary. In this you see this. Only primary winding, secondary winding is removed. The primary part remains R1, X1, I1, V1, R0, X0, IC, IM, and I0, and I2 dash. Here is nothing but E1, it remains E1. E1 is equal to E2 dash into K. And here is nothing but R2 dash. R2, since you are bringing secondary to primary, R2 becomes R2 dash, X2 becomes X2 dash, I2 becomes I2 dash, E2 becomes E2 dash. With reference to K, V2 by K, R2 dash is equal to R2 by K square. It is okay. R2 by K square is not K2. R2 by K square. X2 is equal to X2 by K square, and V2 by K here, and K Z is equal to Z by K square. Z is equal to Z by K square. This is referred to primary. How it goes. This is about. Now we will get into drawing practical transformer, phasor diagram of practical transformer on load here. Here you have to show all the component. As we know, you have to take flux pi as reference, resistive load, or you can say unity power factor load, lagging or inductive load, and leading and capacitive load. These are three things, three vectors you have to write for the different types of load, because whatever the load we use, it may be resistive, inductive, or capacitive, or the combination of the both. Clear? Here you have to draw the phasor diagram or vector diagram for transformer on load. Here no load, it goes with this like this. This is the first one. You will see the no load. The magnetizing component IM or IMU, you can which is responsible of production of flux in the core. The power component IC, which will supply the total losses. Here when you're drawing here, flux, you take flux as reference vector, and V1 is the input supply. V1 and flux pi, they are 90 degree to each other. This flux pi and V1 are 90 degree to each other. Then the current Im, which is responsible for producing flux pi, hence Im and pi are in phase. You can see from the vector diagram here, Im and pi, they are in phase, and V1 and IC are in phase. V1 and IC are in phase. Here we mark here, and we know from the equivalent circuit, I naught is nothing but the vector sum of IC plus Im. Here you draw from IC, draw a parallel line to Im, from Im draw a parallel line to IC. At one point it will intersect, join that is nothing but I naught at an angle of pi naught. And as you know, V1 is input voltage and E1 is the EMF induced in the primary winding. As per Lenz's law, the EMF get induced usually opposes the cause for it. That is V1 is equal to always minus E1. V1 is marked here in this direction. Then you mark E1 in opposite direction, that is 180 degree phase. Always V1 and E1, they are 180 degree out of phase. Here you can write E1 minus A. And always E1 and E2 are in phase. The EMF induced in primary and secondary, they are always in phase. That varies depending upon whether step up or step down transformer. It may be E1 is equal to E2, or E1 greater than E2, or E1 less than E2. In this, you mark here as separate, E2 is greater and E1 is lesser, hence it is a step down transformer diagram. Here you can mark E1 and E2, they are in phase. This is nothing but the vector diagram for practical transformer on no load. Now we will see practical transformer on load. On when you specify load, you would write for resistive, inductor, and capacitive load. Here first the vector, now what you are going to see, without considering resistive and reactive drop, that is IR and IX drop, it is not considered here. You have to mark pi V1, E1, E2, then you have to mark I0, I2 dash, and the total current I1. From the equivalent circuit, here, what is I0? You are already done here. I0 is nothing but the vector sum of IC plus IW. This already you drawn there vector. Now you have to mark here in the vector, you have to mark V1 flux pi, then you have to mark V2, E1, E2, then I1, then you have to mark I0, I2 dash, and finally I2. What is I1? I1 is as per the KCL. If you apply KCL at this point, you will get I0 is equal to I1 is equal to I0 plus I2 dash. With I1 is equal to I0 plus I2 dash. How to draw I0? You already learned now. I0 is equal to IC plus IW. That is not shown exactly here. Here already directly written I0 at an angle of pi naught. How to draw? You know, this here you have to mark IC, here you have to mark IM. With the vector sum of IC and IM, you are going to get I0. Now take flux as reference vector pi V1 at an angle of 90 degree to, this is the input supply V1. Pi is responsible for producing flux to induce EMF E1 and E2. That is 90 degree out of phase with pi, or 180 out of phase with E1. Now here, since it is a resistive load, in a resistive load, current and voltage they are in phase. Now the currents on secondary is I2 and V2 or E2. I2 and V2, E2 or V2. The I2 and E2 are in phase. Here separately V2 is not shown. Assume that E2 is equal to V2. So I2 and E2 are in phase. Hence E2, E1 and E2 will be here. Then you mark I2 in phase here. Now what to get? You have to draw now I1. I1 is vector sum of I0 plus I2 dash. How to get I2 dash? We are already marked I2. I2 and E2 are in phase. Okay. I2 dash is nothing but opposite of I2. Now it is 0 origin here. From here you mark I2 dash. It is in opposite 180 degree phase. I2 and I2 dash are there 180 degree out of phase. Already we know I2 produces pi 2, I2 dash produces pi 2 dash. Pi 2 is equal to minus pi 2 dash. Hence it is 180 degree out of phase. Clear? I2 and I2 dash here. Now you get mark I2 dash, which is opposition to I2, 180 degree opposition here. Now from this I2 dash, draw a parallel line to I2. From parallel line to I0. From I0, draw a parallel line to I2 dash. The joining point is nothing but I1 at an angle of pi1. This is a resistive load. Next we go for inductive load. Here you have the, again it is pi reference V1, E1, E2 and I0 at an angle of pi naught. Now you draw I2. Now in an inductive load, I2 and E2, the relation, you current lags voltage by an angle of pi. The same thing marked over here in the previous resistive diagram. I2 was here. Now the I2 is here. I2 lags E2 at an angle of pi 2. Now once you drawn I2, this is for inductive means lagging. The draw I2 dash 180 degree out of phase. See, now I2 dash is here. I2 opposition to I2 dash. Then vector sum of I2 dash and I0 is going to get I1 at an angle of pi 1. This is our inductive load. Next for capacitive load. Here you see in a capacitor load, current leads voltage by an angle of pi. See here. Now the current is here. Pi V1, E1, E2, everything is same. I0, same thing, no change there. Don't change the angle also. Now I2 you mark here, the same magnitude. See I2 leads E2. I2 leads E2 at an angle of pi 2. Now extend I2 to get I2 dash in opposite direction, 180 degree phase. Then from I2 dash draw a parallel line to I0. From I0 draw a parallel line to I2 that meets at this point. Join that at an angle of pi 1 to get I1. This is about practical transformer on load for resistive, inductive and capacitive load, but without considering the drops IR and IX. And only for your information, in a transformer there are two losses, iron loss or core loss, or also called as constant loss, and one more is copper loss. Okay, iron and copper loss due to the material we use, high grade silicon steel and laminated type of construction, which result in these losses. It is called the constant loss. Copper loss is nothing but a variable loss. This is due to the winding on primary and secondary winding of a transformer. The general formula for copper loss is I squared R. Hence, that I depends upon the load. When then there is no load, copper loss is nothing, zero copper loss is a very negligible copper loss. That is on the primary, but on the secondary it will be zero. As the transformer loads, the current I starts increasing. The current I squared R, that is nothing but I1 plus I2 whole square into R1 plus R2. Hence, when the current starts increasing, means when the load starts increasing, the current starts increasing. Hence, what happens? The copper loss increases in square. When the current is 1 amps, 1 squared into R, 1 R. When the current is 2 amps, 2 squared R, it is 4 amps. When the current is 4 amps, 4 squared R, 16 R. Hence, what happens? It increases in square. As the load increases, the loss increases. As the loss increases, the efficiency decreases. We know the formula for efficiency. It is nothing but output power divided by input power into 100. Input power nothing but output power plus losses. As the denominator increases, the efficiency decreases. There are two types of transformer oil. Here, the one more requirement in a transformer oil is this is used for cooling purpose. Hence, the winding is completely immersed in a oil. The wind as the transformer gets cooled, the winding also gets heat up. You should not go beyond its safer limit. Hence, you want to maintain that safer limit, you have to use the transformer oil. It may be paraffin based oil, it may be another based transformer oil, and it is colorless, low density and low viscosity. This type of oils, and also it is used as insulation. One thing is for cooling, also it works like a insulation between primary and secondary windings. Since completely in a single cabinet, both primary and secondary windings are completely immersed in oil. One thing, the winding gets heat up, it will be cooled by oil. When the oil gets heat up, it has to be cooled by either by air or either by water. It has to be cooled frequently. There are certain points we will see here. The different type of transformer cooling methods are, it will be like dry tap transformers, air natural cooling method. Air natural means directly your oil is passed through the thin plates here in tube, nothing force here. You know, the atmosphere air which will flow through around that particular uh, plates, then automatically the oil will be cooled. That's for specifically for small transformers. A small amount of heat will be that is enough to cool with the environment. But for a large transformer, it's not possible. That is air blast cooling method, because when you use a large amount of heat will be produced in the winding, and also transformer oil gets heat up. It has to be frequently cooled. Hence, normal natural air cooling is not possible. Hence, we require air blast cooling method. There you employ fans, external fans, or oil immersed transformer. The next category for oil immersed transformer, one is for dry type transformer. There's air natural you can use or air blast. When oil immersed transformer, oil ONAN cooling, that is oil natural, air natural. Oil natural, air forced, oil forced, air forced, and oil forced and water forced. When oil natural and air natural means your transformer oil cooled with the oil naturally with the air. Oil natural and air forced means by using the fans, then oil forced and air forced by using pumping. By using pump, you have to use force the oil to circulate among the pipes. Oil forced and water forced means pump also to force the oil, as so also we use the water to cool the transformer. This is for your general information for cooling system. This we will see next. We will see phasor diagram of transformer load with the voltage drops. With voltage drops, it will be like this. Now we are seeing here, in this we have to consider IR and IX drops on both primary and secondary winding. We will go in a glance how we will see. The expression for V1 is nothing minus E1 plus I1 Z1. That is from the equivalent circuit we are going to write. And expression for E2 is equal to, from the equivalent circuit we are already seen, V2 plus I2 into Z2, where Z2 is R2 plus X2. You can expand like E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2 plus I2 X2. This expression here. This expression, okay. V2 plus I2 R2 plus I2 X2 is nothing but E2, EMF induced in the secondary winding. In the primary winding, V1 is equal to minus E1 plus I1 into Z1. These two equations you have to convert into a vector diagram. That's all, is nothing but here the vector diagram, phasor diagram of transformer on load with the voltage drops. Similarly here I will write here flux. Take flux pi as reference. Take flux pi as reference vector. Then mark E1 and E2. Temporarily here you mark E1 and E2 90 degree to flux pi. Then mark I0 at a certain angle, that is vector sum of IC and IM. Do you know how to draw this one? Next draw I2. Next draw I2 in a particular direction. Mark V2 in a particular. Now first you draw mark V2 in a particular direction. Here one thing. Here you take V2 because it is a load. V2 is always less than E2, and V2 take in a particular direction, any direction. You take it out here, some direction. Here you mark V2 here. Now you have to get the relation between V2 and I2. Since this first phasor diagram we are writing for resistive load or unit power factor load, V2 and I2 are in phase. V2 and I2 are in phase. For the lagging, I2 lags. I2 you have to mark it. V2 on the same place, I2 lags here. For leading, you mark V2 somewhere here and I2 should lead. I2 will come here, V2 will go here. For lagging, I2 will go here, and V2. For resistive or unity, I2 and V2 are in phase. I2 and V2 are in phase. Next, you have to get the what you have to get now E2. Since already we marked here E2, but you have to get V2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2 plus I2 X2. E2 is equal to V2 plus V2 is here plus means at the tip of from this point I2 R2. I2 R2 you have to write in phase with I2. I2 is where I2 is here. Okay. I2 R2 in phase with the V2. V2 plus I2 R2 some magnitude. And IR and IX drops, they are always 90 degree to each other. Resistive R and X will be always 90 degree to each other. From the tip of I2 R2, here we have V2 plus I2 R2 plus you draw I2 X2. That will join at the point E2. Finally, we get E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2 plus X2. Or vector sum of I2 R2 and I2 will get I2 Z2. You can extend like V2 plus I2 into Z2. That is from this V2 plus I2 into Z is equal to E2, or V2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2 plus I2 X2. Now we satisfied this equation. Now what you have to get? You have to get V1 vector. You have to get V1, which till now we are not. That is vector sum of minus E1 plus I1 Z1 or minus E1 plus I1 R1 plus I1 X1. Now you have to get minus E1. How we will get minus E1? Now E1 is here. Minus E1 means it is extend the line E1 in opposite direction with the same angle. Now you mark here minus E1. E1 is here, opposite 180 degree phase is minus E1. Minus E1. Next here is what? I1 Z1 means I1 R1 plus I1 X1. Now minus E1. From this you draw how to get I2 dash. This already we know. Extend I2 to get I2 dash. Vector sum of I0 and I2 dash we will get I1. That's over at an angle of I1. Minus E1 plus I1 in R1. From the tip of minus E1 you draw I1 R1. I1 R1 how to draw? I1 R1 should be parallel to like what I2 R2 is parallel to I2, that is in phase. Here you cannot write here extend here. Here I1 is here. Draw from this tip of minus E1, draw a parallel line I1 R1. This one I1 R1 in parallel to I1. From I1 R1 you draw a vertical line, that is IR and IX if they are 90 degree to each other. Draw here you to get I1 x1, and here I1 r1 and I1 x1 sum is I1 z1. Next finally minus e1 plus I1 r1 plus I1 x. From this point join these two origin here, join these two origin to get v1. The vector v1 is equal to minus e1 plus I1 r1 plus I1 x1, or minus e1 you go from dotted line minus e1 plus I1 into z1. You're going to get the Phasor diagram transform load with the voltage drops. Clear. Next we go for this one for inductive load with the IR and IX drop. Here same vector, take pi as reference vector, mark E1 and E2, mark V2 in the parallel. Now we take a little angle for V2 with compared to E2, E1 or E2. Now we mark V2. In the previous I2 are in phase. Now I2 lags. You can see I2 is here. Current I2 lags V2 at an angle of phi. This since it is a lagging or inductive load here. Okay, I2. Now you from the tip of EV, what is E2? E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2 plus I2X. V2 plus means from the tip of V2 you mark I2 R2. I2 R2, how to mark I2 R2? You draw it here. This is I2 R2 in parallel to this line I2 R2, and draw I2 x 90 degree to each other to get E2. E2 is equal to this is E2 here. E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 R2 plus I2 x2, or V2 plus I2 into Z2. Next here you have to get this equation. V1 you have to get V1 is equal to minus E1 plus I1 into Z1. Get minus E1. E1 is E1. Minus E1 is opposite 180 degree phase. You mark here minus E1. This part I will not explain again. This is same. I want to get I0, IC and IM. To get I1, I0 and I2 dash. Extend I2 is here. Extend I2 dash to get, extend here same line to get I2 dash in opposite direction. Now here minus E1 plus I1. Now draw I1 R1 this line parallel to I1. Then draw I1 x1 90 degree to I1 R1. Join I1 R1 I1 x1 to get I1 Z1. Then join V minus E1 plus I1 R1 plus I1 x1 to get V1. This is for inductive load. The next last one is capacitive load or leading power factor. The expression is same for all, only the vector goes different. Now see here, you take some more angle for V2, previously lesser angle. See V2 I marked here because I want to show that V2 is here. Now I2 marked here. See here, I2 is in the previous case this was V2, this I2. Now this is V2 I2. Now I2 is leading. I2 is leading V2 at an angle of pi 2. This for leading power factor. Now what is get V2 plus I2 R2 plus I2 R2. From V2 plus, from the tip of this one draw I2 R2 parallel to this line I2 x2 at 90 degree. Then we will get I2 Z2. Join this to get E2. We got E2. Similarly, satisfy this equation. Extend E1 to get minus E1. Minus E1 plus I1 R1 I1 x1 to get I1 Z1. Or minus E1 plus I1 R1 plus I1 x1 to get V1. I hope now we have the difference between all the three. First three vector diagram we have seen without IR and IX. A simple vector diagram on transformer on no load. On load without IR and IX. This three phasor diagram with the load with IR and IX drop, and for resistive, inductive and capacitive load. This is about the phasor diagram of transformer on no load and transformer on load with and without IR and IX drop. Thank you.